Hi Stampin' friends. Tonight we're going to use the inked and tiled bundle. It is a bundle with punches. You can see it has this punch, which is good for punching out like a circle shape. And then this one, which can be used to punch out either a cross or X, but you can also just cut off the arms of one and use it as a sentiment layer. So something to think about there. This also has beautiful inked botanicals 6x6 designer series paper with it. And it, I am going to use it tonight just so that I can show you a little bit more of the paper, but I'll have more of that on Monday. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's see, I have a slightly different phone, so we will just hope for the best here on being able to see everything in our workspace. Okay, so this has several different foliage stamps. It has this one that is the, kind of has the full stem connected to the floral, and then the same here with this one. Then there's just like a leaf that you might press. Then there's this is just kind of a shape. This is kind of a shape. It's like a little bit of a messed up asterisk, which you could still put over this pretty little flower here. So we'll try to stamp several of these and look at them. And then it really has a great amount of cute sentiments. Congratulations, thank you. Lots of love, just a note, hello friend, and happy birthday. So, first I'll show you the colors that are in the paper. This is kind of a different little fun fold here. This paper has this little stem that's kind of like a penstemon, or, sorry, that's just I didn't mean to use the botanical name. That's kind of what I call them. Larkspur, any kind of thing that's like columnar on a flower. And then this one has our main flower here on it. And what was cute about thinking about this was just imagining this being attached here. We're going to stick this all together. But just kind of creating this into a cute little shape and then putting something down here on the corner for our sentiment. I just thought it could be cute. So let's go ahead and get started. Just adding this to this paper. Now the measurements for this paper are super simple. Of course, you can start whatever width you want. You could start with just folding your card over and then cutting it down to where what is left is 1.5 inch after the fold. If that makes sense. Or you could just make your card only 5 and, let's count, 1, 2, 3, 3/4 wide, and then score at 4 1/4, and that will give you the same result. Now here, what I'm doing is just adhering my little piece that is, of course, 5 1/4 by 1 1/4. There's that. Oops, I got a little bit of goopy stuff on there, a little bit of my adhesive. There we go, just rubbed right off. And then of course this is just the normal card front size, even though we're putting it on the inside. It's the 4 by 5 1/4. You can see the back side of this is a nice crushed curry. So I kind of like this plaid though, how it kind of tied together kind of the pool party and the Lost Lagoon. Lost Lagoon is one of our colors that came back this year, just recently, and is available again. And to get it just a little closer to center, there we are. So there you can see, now you could start with this and do this a variety of ways. You could put a layer here like this and make this card just work like this. Very simple. Just put another layer under here to sign on and you would be all set, if that makes sense. I mean, you can see that this could also go, if you didn't have this kind of paper on it, you could also put it this direction, you know, something that's not going up and down. And I think this is a nice thing to remember when you're making a card, is that it doesn't always have to be the same size. You can cut it, and that makes it seem like a totally different type card. even though it's not difficult for you, it looks like you've really done a cute thing. Okay, so now this piece, which is kind of our little inside kind of cutesy door opening type thing, it is, of course, 6 inches wide, because that's how big our paper is. And then it is 3 inches high. So you could use that to get 2 pieces, 2 of these little folds out of each individual card. And then for the center, you just want to make it some amount that seems, I made this one just a little over 2.5 by 2.5, but you could make it anything up to probably 3 inches. Let me check just to be sure before I tell you. Yeah, I probably wouldn't make it any bigger than 2 3/4, but this one's just 2 and 2.5. So you've got a place to sign in the center. So let's go ahead and stick that down. Now, one thing you can also do before I shouldn't have done this. Wish I hadn't put that adhesive on there. And when that happens, when you wish that you hadn't put the adhesive on there, one thing you can sometimes do is just stick it on a clear block, and you'll be able to get that up fairly easily. So just something to think about that. Or even the back of your stamp case, something like that. Just anything that isn't paper, you're probably going to be able to use something like a bone folder or something and slide something under there to pull it up. Because like in this case, I was thinking it would be super cute on this to put a little flower right here. Oh, I wanted to mention also, you may be looking at this and thinking that this is very vanilla. I feel like, I mean, it could be very vanilla, but there is some white running, you know, the basic white running through this and through all of this paper, this one as well. And I feel like this is actually a light lemon lolly. So I just think that I don't think it is very vanilla. It's just, to my eye, it doesn't look very vanilla. But anyway, I thought it would be cute to go ahead and use one of these colors to kind of stamp the corner. I'm going to go ahead and pull out my Calypso Coral, which is one of the colors that are in this. It's Calypso Coral, Lost Lagoon, Petal Pink, and Crushed Curry. And then, of course, the Pool Party is kind of like a light Lost Lagoon. So I'm going to stamp this right over here and see what I think. Just kind of going off the edge. So there you can see that. I'm going to just go ahead and huff on it and stamp the other edge. And then we'll have kind of a lighter color. There, you see how that kind of just a little lighter. So I'm just going to kind of pull that up. There we are. And the reason I chose that color is because I thought it would be cute inside here with my Calypso Coral. Actually, I think it would be cuter had I used had I stamped off both times, but just, you know, doesn't really matter. It's kind of just up to you. So then in here, you can kind of play with this. Maybe you think it will look cute tucked all the way up in there almost, or maybe you think it would be cuter out here. So I may just kind of leave that. You know, I don't like to commit sometimes, so I might just kind of leave this for a second and play with what I have as far as the rest of my card. Okay, so oops, I need to reach over here and get my Lost Lagoon. I was silly. Okay, there we are. So I'm thinking about what sentiment I want to put, and I think I'd like to use this Just a Note because I think it would be nice to have just a note written on there, and then use all of the stamp, all of the punches in a way that is fun. So I'm going to stamp Just a Note again in my Calypso Coral. So I'm just going to stamp it like right there. And then I'm going to use this punch, the one that has the kind of a cross. And this is going to be interesting because I know I'm going to have to cut this a couple of times just to get it just like I want it. I probably should have used a strip instead, because then I would have been able to maneuver it a little better. Then I'm going to punch the Just a Note. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'm sorry. It's like I need to see it, you need to see it, we all need to see it. Okay, there we are. Just punching it like that. Then I'm just gonna, now you could use a paper cutter, your little paper trimmer to trim that off. But I'm gonna try just scissors and see how badly I do. Not too bad. And just trim that right off. Now, there's nothing wrong with just going ahead and putting your just a note wherever you might think it would be cute. You could put it right across there or wherever. But I was thinking I might like to punch it out and put it on this kind of medallion looking one. Now one thing I wanted to caution you all about, I did have to use this on some scrap paper because it was nicely greased. Now what I mean by that is Stampin' Up! When they, or whoever manufactures for Stampin' Up! There is, oh, and there's a little bit on my hands. And they use some lubricant to just make it where make sure these things are working nicely. So it is nice to go ahead and just be sure, because sometimes you'll get a little bit of oil on the edge or some kind of, that looks like graphite, kind of some dark gray, but that isn't really to be considered like a flaw. It's more of just, that's the way it always is. So you just want to kind of remember to do that. So there you can see the just a note. I've just put it across like that. And it's going to look the same pretty much no matter which one you put it on, because that piece is symmetrical. But you could instead punch this like this with just our little X. And then you could put your note like this, or you could just put it like this, and then you'd have it in a shape. Now these could be contrasting, like for example, I could have gotten a yellow or something and done a contrasting color here and then layered it, did a twist like this. I mean, you kind of see what I'm talking about. Lots of different possibilities. What I'm going to do right now is just go ahead and stick it on this one. Just add it right there. There we are. So you could put this in the center here and have it where it's attached on one side, and that could be your closure for your card. Or you could put it down here in the corner. You just don't want to stick it down here. You want to still be able to open the inside of your little window card. For my own uses, I'm just going to put it right here. I'm going to just stick it only on this side. So I'm going to put some glue dots this time. Now the reason I'm doing that, I just want to be sure it's stuck really well. The only problem that it can cause for you is that you do need to be sure that you don't put it on the wrong side. Since I want it like this, I just want to be sure and only put my glue dots on this side. Like that. And then my last one right there. Whoops. There we go. Okay. So then I'm going to take this, and what I'm doing here is just lining up the points of my medallion. And then here what I'm going to do is be sure I get it kind of in the middle. I'm going to go about the same distance from each side. So that's what I'm doing here, is kind of eyeballing that. And then I'm eyeballing that I have it where the points are at the tear. Okay, so then there you can see, super easy peasy. And then you're ready to just put it on here, except, maybe you would like to add some of this really pretty ribbon. I think that this ribbon matches nicely. It's still very textured, but it is in the Lost Lagoon. So I think it makes a great bow myself. You could certainly do other things with it, but I think it makes just such a pretty bow that it's hard for me to resist making a bow. When it's small, about 1/4 inch wide and just lends itself to a bow like this. And it does lay very flat. You would still be able to mail it. It's a pretty ribbon. And let's just trim an edge here. And the same here. Perfect. And then you could put it here, put it here, put it down here, put it here. So many choices, so many choices. But anyway, I think you can see there that that is a pretty simple card, and yet I think people would enjoy the different way that it opens. So this isn't going to be connected here. Let me go ahead and stick this down so that it's not confusing. I'm going to go ahead and put adhesive all over the back here. And then, of course, I want to at least eyeball it to center it, top and bottom. Let's see, I'm thinking about right in there. Let's see, what if I center it left and right and then also center it top and bottom? Kind of like that. See what I think about that. Would that be, oh, that's not too bad, but I think I may want to scoot it out just a little bit. I may want it to be a little further from the edge. Let's see here. Scoochy scooch. There we go. Because I want to see daylight right here is my only thought. And then that way it will, it'll be very obvious that this is not supposed to be stuck down. Okay, got a little bit of adhesive there. Okay, and then I'm ready to just put my bow right on there. I get a glue dot for that. And pop it right down there. You can put it any number of places. You could also put it right here on the just a note part. Let's pop it right there. That's kind of cute. I don't know, can't decide. And then the only other thing I want to do is they say these are Lost Lagoon. They're a little bit bright and a little bit light for Lost Lagoon, but I bet they will coordinate beautifully. So let's check that out and see what we think. Oh yes, I like that just fine. Put one right there. And maybe one up over there. Whoops, that didn't stick very well. Let's see. Perfect. Okay, so there you can see this little card with its Calypso coral inside. Just a fun little fold there using the colors that are in the paper that goes with it. All right, so the next thing I want to do, I have gotten at, I can't resist this bubble bath. And then we also have our soft sea foam. I wanted to use some different colors with this that were not in the paper, just to kind of have some differences. So I'm gonna grab this guy and I'm gonna get my soft sea foam. Let's use our bubble pink ink pad, bubble bath pink, and put it on here. Now, this is one thing that is a lot of fun when you're stamping. You don't have to stick with just the colors that are just as they are off of the ink pad or out of the marker or whatever. You can add a little more, I don't know what you would call it, texture, I guess, or depth by putting another color on there as well, just to give it a little more emphasis. Okay, so let's try this first. Now it's going to be a little bit too long for it, but I'm just going to go ahead and let it go off the end. Okay, so there is one possibility, just the bubble pink and the soft sea foam. So then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ink it up again with my bubble pink. I like to call it that, bubble. I wish it was called bubblegum pink, but I guess it's not quite as dark. I guess it's more bubble bath color, like that Avon bubble bath that used to be cool in the 70s or 80s. Everybody had it. Okay, there's that. With our soft sea foam, you can see how quickly this comes together. It's just very easy. But now what I'm going to do is just grab maybe some old olive and just kind of add some extra here. This is just going to make it a little darker. And then for my other one, I think I'm going to try some Melon Mambo, and I don't know how we'll feel about that after I do it, but I'm just going to put a few lines of Melon Mambo kind of around the edge. If you were doing this with a stamp, we used to call this rock and roll, but what it does is just gets on the edges of the image. I'm just kind of doing it like that, here and there. And then the last thing I need to do is just huff on it like this. And then I'm going to do the same thing from before. You could stamp it to the side if you like to kind of make some different variety. Then stamp it down like that. So there you can see where I added, you can definitely see the darker green on there. And you can't really see much, but you can see it there. You can see the edging that I did on that. So kind of a different look. And then my idea for this was just to put it on these fun little shapes and layer it here. Then all you'd really need is maybe some of your pink, your bubble bath ribbon. Just kind of tie a bow in bubble bath. I like this ribbon because it's very easy to use. It's even easier to use than the Lost Lagoon. Because the reason I say that is you can see that I tied the ribbon much faster. Better close this, I don't want to make a mess. Okay, and my scissors right here, like that, and whoopsie, ha, here we are. So I might just put that right on there. And then my next thing would probably be to make either a thank you or a happy birthday, something like that. So let's grab our scratch paper here. And maybe, I think maybe stamp it in our bubble bath. Let's do the thank you. Whoops. And then I'm going to use the medallion to punch it out. I have to do the same thing I did last time, just to get myself exactly where I want to be on that. And I got my little thank you. I might pop it over here on the side. A retro thing we used to do is just kind of cover that edge in some ink, just to kind of add emphasis to it. So let me grab a little bit of a pink here. Maybe. I did buy some neat little things on Etsy where you can put the color that you want it to be wrapped around this. And so I've got to get those going because that'll be a lot of fun to use, I think. It's like this, you can't really tell what color I'm even wanting it to be. Okay, let's just start off the edge. Just add a little bit. There we are. And that just adds a nice little bit of color to our card. Okay, I do have one more of these that I was gonna do. I used, my color scheme I used was Fresh Freesia, Pool Party, and then our Lost Lagoon, of course. Got one more of these guys. So I thought I might just kind of make this into a one sheet wonder using Lost Lagoon for this one. And then using, where did I set this? This guy, I will need to clean that, just one second. I was gonna use my Fresh Freesia for that. My little daisy shape. There we are. Oh, and I don't know what I did with my, let's see, did I not get it out? Oh, I didn't. I'll get both of these, just because I can. And tiny block, a little asterisk. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my Fresh Freesia. My Lost Lagoon. And my Pool Party. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my Fresh Freesia. And just put a couple of these. I say a couple. You typically want 3 of things at least, but I want a little bit going off the edge. Then this guy, I imagine that it's possible that I might only need 1. just putting that right in the center there. And so you've basically, you're halfway there. And so what I'm going to do on this one is just do a simple happy birthday, which I have here. Let's see, try to think about what color I want it to be. I think I'm going to go with the fresh freesia. Any of the colors would look fine. Just kind of stamp right there. And then I'm going to use the sky. I have to cut it again. It's too funny that I didn't come over here with a strip. Usually, almost every single time, I make sure that I have a strip. I'm just gonna try to, oh, maybe I'm not. Just kidding, not doing that. I do think we could use a circle die and layer that on top of here. I kind of think that would look really good with some of these happy birthday ones. But I think what I'll do instead, I think I'm just gonna grab my, you know, this guy that I love. Just gonna get that punched with my happy birthday. And then grab my Lost Lagoon and do a quick scallop. And that does look nice, I think, with the die that we use to cut out this background piece. So there you can see, it's simple, it's different, and it didn't take me hardly any time. So to recap what we've done tonight, on this one we used kind of a little bit of a one sheet wonder type look, and I need to do one of those for you all. I need to make a video of that. And I think this stamp set is one that would be gorgeous with that. I might like to use, but we're going to do a whole bunch of it. I can imagine using some really rich colors like Poppy Parade and maybe some blueberry bushel, and then maybe a crushed curry. That could be really nice. All right, so that is that one. And then, oops, I tumbled this one over. Of course I did. And I missed my little pretty bow and sentiment. Hold on, let's see if I can get it. I put this one all together, so I didn't lose anything on it. So that's probably what I need to do. Just use the matching paper and made just a note and then a place to sign inside. Super simple card, but I think people would be really feeling special if they got that card. Let's see here. Oh, here they are. My little sponged one. And I used my blending brushes on. And then just this beautiful bubble bath ribbon. Sorry, I had to get it. I could not show it to you unless it was a little bit closer to straight on there with the soft sea foam. So I think that one turned out nicely as well. So lots of ways that you can use this set, even if you don't want to use the matching paper all the time, though it is very sweet. I appreciate you all watching, and I hope that you have a great weekend. Bye-bye.